All right, so I want to start today just by um, talking a little bit about map testing. Um, what I've seen for both our math and for reading so far is that those of y'all who have been here with us and have actually been, doing school the way we're telling you to, um, it's actually going pretty well for you this year. Right. So the thing I was interested to see was, you know, is the model of education, this is my first year doing this, that we are doing at SC Prep working for kids that are actually doing what we're saying to do. Okay. And are putting in the work, are getting the feedback when they need it, are working hard. And, I'll speak for Chloe because I, know that she won't be embarrassed. Her scores both went up in math and reading. All right. And she went to what is considered one of the best public schools in the state before in Powdersville. And you can look at the results in Powdersville, and it's one of the highest ranked schools in the state. And being here for one semester, her scores actually are higher than they ever were in her public school, percentile wise. Okay. So what I'm telling you guys is what Mr. Harris, Miss Coleman, Mr. Madavi, and I are doing works if you do what we tell you to do. Okay. Now, for the people who hide or do crappy work, um, like I can't do much with that, guys. Okay. I can't teach people who aren't here. I can't teach people who aren't doing work. All right. Those of y'all who've been doing your work and figured out how I'm trying to do this, you're doing pretty well. Now, one or two of y'all had some scores that I don't think reflect you, but that's that's normal. I've seen that every year I've taught is that sometimes people have some scores that are off. Sometimes there's some of y'all who need to break through test taking barriers, but I gotta say there's some of y'all who can speak to really good results that have happened that you should be, really proud of. Gina's asking me, when am I going to send the map papers? I think I'm going to wait for a couple of days until I see who gets their makeups done today. And then I'll start communicating that stuff out. Okay. And then I'm going to put in the grades for doing it again after I see who does makeups today. Um, just because it'll streamline the process a little bit. Okay. Um, so I did want to say here that the makeup session here um, for map testing is in math is today. Okay. So Miss Snyder is being awesome. She's our middle school assistant principal, right? Really, basically the principal of the middle school. And so she's the one that is hosting the Zoom sessions to get people logged in for the map right now. So I'm gonna copy her link and I'm gonna put it in our chat right here. Um, and so this one is for everybody who needs to take the map test who hasn't taken the map test yet. Okay, that's Miss Snyder's link. Okay, here's the times that she's going to be available on her Zoom today for you to log in. Now, I haven't asked her this, but I'm imagining that if you're like, dude, my score was doo doo, and I'm pretty sure that now Mr. Carter thinks I'm a bad student or something, I really need to retake it. You can go in on those and ask Miss Snyder that, hey, I would like to take it again because I think I can do better, or I was just having a bad day, or I was started out lazy and went showing my work, and I know that that didn't reflect well on me. Okay, there's a couple of y'all I would actually encourage to do that if you think that you can do better than you actually did. All right. Because that's, this score is important for me to know how you're doing and what I need to do for you. Okay. Um, so yeah, there's that. And again, I'm gonna be communicating info out to you about how your test went. And overall, I was pretty encouraged with what we've seen progress wise. Okay. All right, so today we're going to interpret inequalities. This guy with his little, I don't know what he's doing here, but inequality thing. Okay. Um, let's talk through where we are in schedule wise. Today is December 6th. All right. This week and next week, and then the end of Q2. Okay. I think most people by now know that I send out weekly grade updates on Monday. You need to check your Canvas grade book for any missing work and zeros. All work is required, and I just have started. This is again my first year teaching online, and after trying several different things, what I decided to do is just to make sure that you knew everything has to be done. I got points on every single daily assignment. Okay, um, if you're doing your best and on your right track, I give you full points on daily assignments if you haven't missed a whole bunch. If you missed a whole bunch of stuff and got a lot of it wrong, then yeah, you're not getting full credit, but you could still go back and fix it and resubmit it. Okay. Two, remember that every day I have a video going over the work. Okay. Um, on the daily practice. So when you're looking in my math class right here, again, I'm those of y'all who know this already, just bear with me for a second here because I did this for y'all at the beginning of the year, right? So I got a video right here that will explain how to navigate my Canvas course. On this main page, this is, oh, I've actually got a live lesson I forgot to go back and attach here. I need to, but the live lessons are attached right here, the links to them, okay? The big thing to look at, though, is in the modules here, okay? So yesterday's module, Monday, I didn't put anything in there. Yesterday, we had a Nearpod to do while you watched a video. Okay. So if you didn't do this, you didn't do what I told you. Okay. You should be watching a video while you're doing that Nearpod. All right. I hadn't looked at those Nearpods yet. I have looked at the practice, but not at the Nearpod. You need to watch this video and do this Nearpod right here. Okay. I put 40 points on that one because I wanted to make sure that you see, no, I'm for real. Like you need to actually do this thing. Okay. Um, so that's on yesterday's module. Then there's a daily practice thing on pretty much every day. Right. And I've taken problems from different sources and I've put them on a PDF. Right. So it's not a whole lot of work there. Right. But then what I want you to see here, make sure you see this, is you turn that in right here. You have to have some way that you upload it where it says turn in. Then I want you to notice that I have gone to the extreme trouble of videoing myself going over every single problem. Okay. If it's a practice thing, I have a video of me going over it, right? I have myself on mute because I don't like to hear myself talk like that. But literally, it's right there. Okay. So if you're thinking, but wait, if I'm doing the practice and I'm stuck, couldn't I just follow you and go over it? Yes. Right. Because what you would need to be doing is saying, okay, do I understand this or not? If I still don't understand it, I need to get Mr. Gardner to help me. That's kind of how this should be working. Okay. So again, today we're on here. We have a live lesson. I'll put the recording up there when I'm done. Then there's a Nearpod, which I'm about to get you to log into. Then there will be a practice assignment after class today that you need to turn in. And again, there'll be a video of me explaining that. That's kind of a daily thing. Usually we have a quiz on Friday. This Friday, we do not have a quiz for just reasons that make sense to me and where we are in the unit. Okay. We are going to have one more unit test before Christmas break. That's going to be on the Monday, 4/11, the 18th. Okay. It's going to be Monday, the 18th. All right. Any questions for me? You want to type in the chat before we move on here? All right. Okay. So here is our Nearpod for today. So go to join.nearpod.com. Okay. I do look at these things and whether or not you do all the slides. And you can't just put down some diddly crap. All right. If it's not like you're actually trying, then I mark that off. Okay. If your slides weren't working well, if your computer was lagging or something, there is a student paced one that you could do later. I know one or two of y'all have had to do that and did a good job of communicating back with me. Hey, I had to redo that one. Make sure you check that one. So just let me know if you had to redo one later. But this is the code you should be logging into. And I'm going to switch over to my Nearpod slide right now. Okay. So AVR5G All right, so I'll post that right here. This is the link, the code you need at Nearpod. And then here is the, let me see. Let me get you this version right here, copy link. So in the chat is the link to get into the Nearpod here, okay? And we need to get moving. All right, so give you a few seconds to get logged into that. I'll rewarm my coffee and we'll be ready to go in like a minute, okay? If you got any questions about anything I've said so far, after you get logged in, you can type it in the chat bar and I'll try to answer those things. And yes, I have a microwave next to my desk here, so I can always rewarm my coffee. So for those of y'all that are new here, I almost always have a coffee cup with me while I'm teaching, and it usually is my Snoopy cup. Although I have the I Love Daddy one that Chloe bought me at one point, and a Santa's Helper one I drink out of sometimes. It's kind of funny. And one that has Arabic written on it from Lebanon. Which Gina, I keep forgetting to bring that one. I don't think I've shown you my. Have I shown it to you? Okay, I have. Chloe says I have shown it to you. And by the way, for those of y'all who are new, I actually have a kid in the class here. Chloe, will you turn your camera on so they can see? Because there's a few newer people in here. Okay. So Chloe right here is my daughter. Okay. So she actually is sitting right behind me. Turn your camera around so you can see. See, there's me right there in that chair. Yeah, there's me. Hey. Okay. So there you go. So for those of y'all who are new here, she's in the same room as me when I'm teaching. No, we do have something this Friday, Gina. Just check it's just another like small assignment practicing what we're working. Okay. I got 11 people logged into my Nearpod, and there are 22 people logged in here. That would be 50% of the people are logged in. For those of y'all who are good at math, 1 out of 2, 50%. Yes, Tristan, you can. I appreciate good jokes. Just type it in the chat because I've got if once you've been here for a while, you'll notice that I have a really hard time getting all the math I need to get taught in the amount of time that we have in class, right? It's really, really hard. All right, so here we go. Did that. Now we're ready to get to work. Okay. Huh? Yeah, you can turn your camera off. I just wanted them to see, because we had several people who've joined the class, and I wanted to kind of update them on some of that stuff. I kind of thought of that because Miss Coleman did that, was talking through stuff yesterday. All right, so this unit, we've already done some of this stuff with meanings of positive and negative numbers, right? We've done that. Now you'll notice here, it says the coordinate plane stuff. All right, that's what we're working on right now. And kind of the second part of that unit, you see how it says coordinate plane on all these things, okay? So that's what we're working on. I don't think that oh yeah, we are still on the inequality and equality stuff. So we're finishing this part up here today, then getting into coordinate plane the remainder of the week, okay? Do I know anyone who eats a lot of apples every day? Chloe says yes, she does. No, Tristan, I do not. Who is it? All right. Here we go. What? What just came? Maybe later, Emma. Wow. Yeah, somebody says they eat at least 3 apples a day. Well, I guess that keeps the doctor away. All right. So today's goal is explain what the solution to inequality means in a situation and write inequalities that involve more than one variable. So I'm not exactly sure that this gets to all of that I want to, but I tried to make sure this one didn't go like super duper forever long. As you can kind of see, there's only like 5 or 6 slides we have to write on here because I was trying to catch us up on a lot of stuff here. And there's a whole bunch of you that didn't do the work yesterday. I was afraid y'all were going to forget because you had map testing, and I think some of you did. Okay. So you got to catch up on that stuff. Okay. All right. So this one should be one you can draw on, isn't it? It is, right? Okay. All right. So what we're looking at here is Noah scored N points in a basketball game. What does 15 less than N mean in the context of the basketball game? And then N is less than 25. So you could use the little text typer thing here, would be useful. So type in your answer. What do you think? Let's go ahead and do this first part here. What do you think the 15 is less than N means in the context of the basketball game? I'll give you a little hint here. You also can flip this one around like this. N is greater than 15. So what I'm wanting you to write here is, what does that mean? That means write like a little phrase. Okay. So I'm gonna look at yours and see what you're getting here. So you should be answering the first one in words. So I should see words happening here. Like on number 1 and number 2, there should be words. Mm. Oh, I think some of y'all are might also be logged into the other version of this instead of the one that I'm on right here. So no, not you, Chloe. If you weren't directed when I went, remember that I have a student pace one and a teacher pace one, but I can't see the if you're on student pace on accident, I can't actually see um, your answer while I'm teaching, which means that I can't give you very good feedback. Okay. 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 So what we need here is this answer right here. So notice this one, right? Points scored is greater than 15. And then the second one is points scored is less than 25. Okay. So if you see the answer I have on my screen here, if your answer is not the same as that one, you need to fix it. That's what it needs to be. Okay. All right. So points is greater than 15. So number of points is greater than 15. That's what the answer should say, right? Okay. And then, yeah. Well, that's just because of the way the thing is. That's fine. All right. And then here we need the points. It was more than 25 points. Or sorry, less than, isn't it less than? Yeah, less than 25 points. Okay. Okay. Less than 25 points. Now, it wants us to draw two number lines to represent the solutions to the two inequalities. Okay. So let me just, I don't want to assume that everybody knows how to do this particular part here. So just watch what I do here and copy down the one I do. Okay. So for this first one, is greater than 15. All right. So this is for the number 1. All right. All right. So here we have open circle because it can't include 15. Okay. Then you draw a line to the right. Okay. Because that's greater than 15. All right. For the second one, okay, so I'm on number 2 now. Okay. We have another number line, just like this. Okay. And it says it's going to be less than 25. So 25 is here. Okay. And it's not going to equal 25. So he didn't score 25. He scored less than that. So it's like this. Okay. All right, Isla, that's fine. Just make sure that you know that I have the video and I have this self-paced one you can go back and get. All right, so that's number 3. All right, now for number 4, here's where you put an answer in. What is a possible answer? Okay. What? Yeah. All right, so you're looking for one that is for number 4, a possible value for n that's a solution to both inequalities. And then for number 5, give me one that would work for this one, but not for that one. All right, so let me see what you guys are getting there. So be getting your 4 and 5. So again, just in case you're aware, I look at these things, and if you haven't answered all of it, you don't get all the points. That's all there is to it. Okay. If you're giving it a good shot and you miss a couple, like in terms of they're wrong or something, yeah, as long as I see that you're trying to correct them, that's cool. Okay. All right. So this is a good answer right here. Okay. So we got 20 is a solution of both inequalities, right? Because it's really between 15 and 25. 30 would be a solution of the first one, but not to the second. So that's a good answer. Charlie, good answer, Charlie. All right. Um, so, oh, no, no, no. Don't want to do that. So we need to, everybody make sure you're getting that. Yeah, that's good. 16 is good for number 4. 26 would make sense. Okay. Um, okay, so on this one right here, um, not a solution for number 5. I'm not sure what we got going on here because right here we need 16 makes sense here, 16 to 24. But what it's saying here is a possible value that is a solution to the first inequality, but not the second one. So your answer for the second one should be something that doesn't work, means something like, all right, so if this is my answer right here, I might put like 27. 27 works for that one, but not for this one. 30 would work. Okay. Now, can -8 be a solution? Okay. So go ahead and write your answer for 6. -8 be a solution. Jaden, I think you can unsubmit it and like doodle some more on it and then resubmit. I think there's a way to do that because I've seen people do it before. Just got to figure out how. Okay, so all right, the answer is no on number 6. All right, and y'all are right in the sense that it can't be -8 because it's less than 15. You're right, but there's actually another reason for this. All right, I'm not sure if anybody, let me see if anybody put what I'm looking for here. What would make sense? Okay, we're talking about a basketball game here. Okay. Any of y'all ever play basketball? Can you score -8 points? No, you can't score negative points, right? Okay, so in this case, the actual, yeah, you're right, and I will give you credit. That's fine for number 6. But what I would say is no, this would be my answer, be no, you, and it's hard to write like this. I would probably type it. You can't have negative points, right? You can't. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it that way. Sorry. You can't have. It's one of the text boxes there. You can't have negative points. Okay. Like it's not possible in basketball, right? You can't have negative points. It's not a thing. Okay. So make sure you got the first slide finished up here. Give you a few seconds, then we'll move to the second one. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. So just I'm wanting you to these examples. A lot of the live lesson stuff I'm doing is as hard or a little bit harder even than what I have to assess you on. Okay, so I I want to make sure that I'm pushing you to be able to interpret. Because for those of y'all who are on the 80th to the 90th percentile type math students, I want to keep pushing you to get better, while also providing support for people who struggle. Okay. All right. So does that all make sense for everybody here? Any questions? Okay. Next one. Okay. So this one's a little bit of a different type of situation here. All right. So here's a diagram of an unbalanced hanger. Okay. Don't let this confuse you. I don't think once I explain it, it's not really that hard. Okay. It's a different problem. It's a similar idea. Yeah, there is one like this on your practice, but it's not exactly the same. Jada says the weight of one circle is greater than the weight of one pentagon. So write an inequality to represent her statement. Let P be the weight of one pentagon and C be the weight of one circle. Okay, I want you to do this one with me because I want you to see how to do it. And then you got one on your practice that's like this. Okay, so her statement is that the circle weighs more than the pentagon. Okay, so the weight of the circle is greater than the weight of the pentagon, right? So that means this. So look at that. Tell me if that makes sense or not. Chloe, will you turn your camera off? Yeah. Okay. So everybody see for A, the circle is more than the pentagon. All right. Does that make sense? Tell me if it doesn't make sense. C for the circle, P for the pentagon. Those are called variables. Okay. Now, the circle weighs 12 ounces. So we need to use this information to write another inequality about the relationship of the weights. Okay, now, if you'll notice here, all right, on what I did here, C is for circle, right? Now, for the second one, just follow here. We said the circle is greater than the pentagon. Watch this carefully because this is a key thing. If you get this the first time, this will help you a lot. So we're saying that C is 12. Now watch what I do here. I'm going to erase the C since we know the C equals 12. Okay. Now, instead of the C, we're going to put in 12. Notice what I did here. Everybody see that? So all I did literally to make the inequality more specific based on what it said on B is I took the information that it was 12 ounces right here and I put it in for the weight of the circle. Okay. Does that make sense? Now, you actually could flip this one around too, like this. P is less than 12. Okay, so make sure you're keeping up with your notes here. I'm going to check them in a second here. All right. So, what does this inequality mean in this context? Okay, so maybe put yourself depending on where you need to put your text box, I'm going to need to put mine up here. Okay, so what does this inequality mean in this context? This is where we write. So when it says, what does it mean? We need to put what it means. Okay, all right, it means that, yeah, Deshaun, you can totally do that. If you write them down on your paper, then once you get off your Zoom, you could go back in and put them on the Nearpod that way. And it might, that's why I have the student pace one too. If you write it on a paper, you could either upload the paper or go back and put it on the student pace version of the Nearpod. And that works too. Okay. Because I understand sometimes it's a lot of bandwidth to do both. Okay. All right. So here we have, it means that the pentagon weighs less than 12. Okay, so notice right here. All right, look at the problem. And it's doing that thing, Chloe. This is what you're talking about, wasn't it? I just hit enter and it put it down in the box. You see what I did? Dude, look, I hit enter in front of the it right there. Okay, so a circle weighs 12 ounces. Use this information to write another inequality to represent the relationship of the weights. Okay, so we put 12 is greater than P or P is less than 12 because it flips around. Okay, now what that means in words is the pentagon weighs less than 12. Okay, any questions on that? Or does that make sense? Okay, now the second one, here's another diagram of an unbalanced hanger. Write an inequality to represent the relationship of the weight. P is going to be the weight of one pentagon and S for the square. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few seconds to start on that one. I'm going to erase my answers on the first one. Okay, right here. Don't erase yours because I need to see all of yours. Okay, so we're on number 2A here. We're on 2A. So this is the one you're on right here. All right, so P But look, it honestly is more of like I'm going to check them all later. All right. So an inequality to represent the relationship of the weight. P is for pentagon and S is for square. Okay, so we got P for pentagon and S for square. Okay. Now, the one that is down obviously weighs more. So that's the greater one. The pentagon is greater. Okay. All right. So I'm about to put my answer. So put yours down if you haven't yet. So this would be the pentagon is greater than the square. P is greater than S. Okay. Now, using that right there, pentagon weighs 8 ounces. So we can write, okay, same thing we did earlier. Pentagon weighs 8. So instead of the P, we're going to write down 8. Why? Because it says the pentagon weighs 8. So that 8 is going to be greater than that of the square. Okay? That's an S right there, by the way. Sorry. S. I wish they hadn't put S for square. You know. All right. And then we have to describe what that means in the context. So again, we're writing a sentence. So that's going to be the square weighs less than 8. Okay. All right. The square weighs less than 8. All right. So we got the square weighs less than 8. All right. So that's for part B. All right. Now, part C. We need to graph this solution on a number line. Okay. So the square weighs less than 8 on a number line would look like, all right, here. So we got here. So on one like this, you just put the number that you need right here. Oh, no. Sorry, I was doodling too much. All right, here's my 8 right here. That's 8. Okay. And then we're going to put, it can't weigh 8. It's less than 8. So it's going to go that way. Okay. So that's all we had to do for 2C. All right. All right. Any questions on that? Oh, you okay, man? Okay. All right. Let's see how everybody's doing on this here. Yeah. All right. So I need to see that you have answers for 1 and 2 all the way through there. Okay. All right. I had to erase a few of them already. Yeah. Okay. Now the weight of a square and the weight of the circle. Okay. So the circle weighs more than the pentagon, and the pentagon weighs more than the square. Therefore, the circle weighs more than the square. Okay. So here's what I'm saying. If the circle is more than the pentagon and the pentagon is more than the square, then the circle has to be more than the square. Okay. That's the order right there. All right. Does that kind of make sense there? That's what I thought, Sage. That's what I was just guessing on there. All right. Any questions on that one? Okay. In the interest of time, I'm going to go past 4 and 5, and I just because I want to make sure that we get through the basic idea here, and I think that gets you through the basic idea of what we need for 6th grade for sure. Okay. Um, just based on what the South Carolina standards are. These right here are based a little more off of states that did uh, Common Core, and ours are similar to Common Core, but not exactly the same. Okay. Um. All right. Let's see. I need to double check how much more I've got here so I don't run out of time. Okay, we got three slides. And we'll finish by about 10:45. All right, so here's a picture of a balanced hanger. It shows the total weight of the three triangles is the same as the total weight of the four squares. So what does that tell us about the weight of a square compared to a triangle? Okay, so let me kind of walk you through this one. A lot of this one today is more of I'm trying to teach you a little more as opposed to you just kind of practicing. And then we'll go practice stuff like this later. Okay. So what this tells us about the weight of one square when compared to one triangle? Well, that means that if it takes four of these to equal three of those, then that means that this one weighs more, right? So therefore, a triangle is greater than a square, okay? How do we know that? Because, so for number one here, we know this because, and I'll draw a little line to it, because it takes more squares to equal the triangles, right? So the triangles must weigh more. All right. That's how you describe that. Okay. So if you're like, well, you're just telling us the answer, you're right. I am. But in a sense, what I'm trying to do is help you to see what sort of problems they're talking about here. Okay. So that would go like here behind my T and S thing. Okay. All right. Now, oh, I actually already did the inequality. My little doodling parts, the parts should be down here. All right. So I put them in the wrong place. The equation or inequality describe the relationship between the square and the triangle is that the triangle is greater than the square. Okay. Yeah, Chloe, I did on the previous slide, I skipped 4 and 5 just because in the amount of time we've got and whether or not I didn't think those were quite as essential. Okay. Okay. Any questions on this slide? Got 2 more slides. We might actually finish at 10:45 today. That'd be a first, right? No. Okay. So now I'm going to explain this one to you. Okay. So what this one's getting at is wanting you to think through. There are situations where having a limit or a range of things are important, right? So like when we look at you're on an elevator, it says maximum capacity of 2,500 pounds. Well, that technically means less than or equal to 2,500 pounds, right? Okay. If it says that you have to be, let's say weight, right? All right. So yeah, it can handle 2,500 pounds. However, you probably don't want to push it on that, right? Okay. Now, if you think, okay, my situation, like we're talking about something like speed limits, right? Or you need to go above. I think the minimum speed limit on the interstate is minimum, so greater than or equal to 45. So you can't go under 45 on the interstate. Why? Because you'll get run over. Okay. Does this one writable? It is? Okay. Okay. So you could, yeah, go ahead and write these on there then. So like things like speed limit, right? Speed. And then you ever been into tunnels or like you're at Chick-fil-A and it says maximum height such and such, right? So like if you're at the Chick-fil-A drive-through and it says the maximum height might be, I don't know, 9 feet 10 inches or something, right? Let's say the maximum height is 10 feet. Then that means it has to be less than or equal to 10 feet, okay, of height. You can't be any taller than that to go under that thing because that's how high the thing is. Okay. So in my situation here, that was height limit. Okay, so you could write down if you got a different one, that's fine. I don't care. All right. Like tunnels, if you're going through the Great Smoky Mountains, you better make sure you're not over height or you're going to lose the top of your car in the tunnel. Right. So do numbers that are not whole numbers make sense in this situation? The answer is yes. Right. Because it could be like, you could be 9 feet and 10 inches, or 9.75 feet or something, right? Like that. Okay. That would make sense. Yeah. But do numbers that are negative make sense in these situations? That would be no, right? Because like you can't be negative height, or negative weight or stuff like that. Okay. I think that when you're talking about health or safety, that's the kind of thing. Like, you should not eat over a certain amount of calories. That's less than or equal to. But you can't eat negative calories. Just like we said, you can't have negative points in a basketball game. Okay. So just kind of thinking through, these are all kinds of situations. All right. Now, we talked about things like temperature, right? So, we'd say, don't do this at, further than 10 degrees below zero. Okay. Then that would make sense in that situation. Okay. It just depends on the situation you're talking about. But a lot of times, the negatives don't make sense in those situations. Okay. But there are some, like with temperatures or elevations and things like that. Right. Um, okay. Any questions on that particular one? This is just more of like, I wanted to talk through some of those with you, and get you to take a few notes on that. Okay. All right. So again, what I'm hoping you were getting today was this: explaining what the situation to inequality means in a situation, and then write inequalities that involve more than one variable, which is what we were doing. Okay. So before we kind of close the live part of class here, I want you to do this one, and then stick around. I'm gonna go over it. Okay, so this is the last one for today. So let's do this one, and then let's go over it. I'm gonna give you a minute or two for you to do this one, and then I'm gonna go over it. Okay, and then we'll be done. So do this one first. All right, then I'm gonna go over it in just a minute. All right, so it says Lynn says the inequalities h is greater than 150 and h is less than 160 describe her height in centimeters. What do the inequalities tell us about her height? So you should be typing your answer on this one. They tell us that she is blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's the first one. About 30 seconds to type that one. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, I see some that are pretty good here. All right, so what we got here is her. Is that a her? I think it is. Lynn, could be either. I don't know if it's a boy's name or a girl's name. All right, so Lynn's height is something like this: greater than 150, but less than 160. Or you could have said is between 151 and 159. That would have worked too. Okay. So either of those answers would have worked there. Okay. All right. All right. Next one. Andre knows he's a little taller than Lynn, but shorter than their math teacher. Oh, he. Okay. Well, no, it still doesn't say about Lynn. Okay. But shorter than their math teacher, who is 164 tall. Okay. So we need to write two inequalities, with A being for Andre. Okay. L being for Lynn. So the first one, you put Andre, and then put Lynn, and then put greater than or less than. And then on the second one, you're putting Andre and 164, and then a greater than or less than. So put the two symbols you need between those. Okay, so put your answers there. Andre is taller than Lynn. Also, Jaden, Emma wants to know if you know somebody named Jakaya. And if you do, then tell me yes. All right, so looking at this one, Okay. All right. So what we got here says Andre is taller than Lynn. So that means Andre's height is greater than Lynn's height. So taller than means greater than. Shorter than their math teacher means shorter than 164. Right? Now, Lynn is less than 160. So since we know that Lynn is less than 160, right, we know that Andre has to be greater than Lynn. So that means Andre could be 160 because that's greater than Lynn because Lynn is less than 160. Therefore, for number 3, Andre could be 160 because that's still greater than Lynn because he or she's less than 160. Okay. Now we know that Andre is not less than that. We also know that Andre is less than 164. Therefore, could Andre be 162.5? Yes. So you should select C and D. All right. So that is the last one here. Okay. So make sure you got that one done. The last slide. Okay. And if you feel like you got behind on some of those, why do I put whenever I put something? On the Tristan, are you talking about on the question? I don't think I'm putting that, so I don't know where you're seeing that I'm putting that. Oh, you talking about my dot 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 stuff in my writing? Oh, I've always just done that a lot with writing. I don't know why. It's just a thing I do. Mm. Um, it has to do with like a continuing thought kind of thing. All right, so just to kind of close this out here. All right, today's practice is more of the skill from class today. If you feel like that your Nearpod looks like you didn't do all the work, then remember to go back to the student-paced version if you need to. Okay, there is a practice today that's going to be, kind of a shorter kind of practice on interpreting inequalities. So this is the other work you need to do right here today. Okay, is this one right here? Okay, again, not real long. Okay, and then we have tomorrow an ed puzzle, all right, and then a couple of graphing pizzazzes where you like doodle on them and stuff like that. Okay, you got to print them out, annotate on your device, use graph paper, something, and then more practice with graphing on Friday. Okay, so a good bit of time uh, in order for you to catch up on things and make sure you're caught up from yesterday if you forgot to do yesterday's, and get caught up on your grades because grades are due on the 17th of December. Again, if you didn't get to map test earlier, remember that you can go to this link right here. Is Miss Snyder's link. All right. She's doing the retesting today. Right. And she is doing it she's going to have her window open for that at all these times I'm posting right here. Okay. Today. Okay. Um, all right. Any questions for me before we go? And Emma, that's a no. I can't. All right. Okay. I'll see you guys later.